YAHAWAH BAHASHam YAHAWASHI Qadash. All praises to the Most High Yahweh in the name of the Son Yahushua. Well, the Most High put it on my spirit to come out as an observer, which is the lot that I've been blessed with or cursed with, whatever you want to call it. I would call it a blessing. The Most High said, okay, I got something for you to pull out and bring out and address in terms of the community of the supposedly elect, the elect of Israel, Yasharallah. Well, the situation is such where the Most High put it on my spirit to say, okay, once I get you observing some things, sometimes he has me observe things for quite some time. I go through a series of observations that the Most High brings on my spirit to say, look and watch, because we are watchmen, and we're supposed to be looking out as we are watching, and before we decide to before he correlates everything in terms of a lesson, or correlates everything in terms of what you have been observing, and then you come out and you teach if your lot is to do so. Well, where we are at this point in time is clearly befuddling a lot of the men and the women that are in the truth, and moreover, it seems to be starting to filter through in some of the so-called elect. I'm seeing a lot of different renditions of reprove and reprovement, which are clearly needed in coming out in reference to a lot of the so-called leaders in this awakening that is such a miracle and a blessing of ours to be even part of, because you could be completely bugged out and not know anything that's going on and just following Esau Edom's wicked process of dissemination of everything that has to do with the Most High YAHAWAH BAHASHam YAHAWASHI, which of course, we all know that the Most High controls all sides of both things and all things, and everything that they think they're doing, it's really the Most High in the left-hand side doing a good number of the prophetic processes that are happening. But there are prophetic processes and things that are occurring and happening that are on the right-hand side and that are positive, that a lot of people don't get a chance to look at or don't seem to be able to surmise or see it. Even though a lot of these so-called believers and whatever you want to call them in terms of being in the truth, prophets, teachers, they are wayward in terms of the things they're doing. You got people out here now getting ready to try to start reality shows, which, what the hell does that have to do with anything that deals with the Most High and the reality of the truth? That's completely totally bugged out, that's beyond being bugged out, really, if you really want to look at it. And then you got people doing all kinds of musical renditions of what they believe has to do with the truth. The Most High is not trying to reach people in that way, and if you don't believe that, then you find it in a way where it's been successful, because I don't see it at all. And then the ones who are drawn to that, you can see they're very much not in the truth. Again, I don't know. I'm not trying to say that the Most High doesn't touch everything and deal with everything in terms of the way he operates, because then that would be untrue, because he controls all things. But there's just certain things that you can see don't fall in line with the attitude and the personification of the spirit in terms of the truth. It just doesn't line up, and it's never going to line up if it's worldly. If you are in a worldly perspective trying to bring a carnality-based spirituality, something that's carnal, like going into dealing with reality shows and albums and selling all kinds of products and services online instead of doing the truth and doing the work and just feeding the sheep what they're supposed to, then you're out of line. You're off base. You're unbalanced. And the Most High don't deal with unbalance. What he does is he spews that out. You're 1 foot in the world, 1 foot in heaven, and that's being lukewarm. He's gonna spew you out. So that's out. That's not going to work. But of course, people are doing it. So where we are, and this is the topic that the Most High gave me for this, is how fallen is the state of your spirit in understanding. How fallen is the state of your spirit in understanding. And we're going to pull out scriptures in reference to the fallen state of our people, and even from the beginning when we fell. And we're going to pull some stuff out, and we're going to address this situation as fluently and as best as we can. Get a little warm in the car, in the truck here. I had to put the windows down a little bit, you know what I mean? So we're going to go ahead and address this, but let me just say a little bit more. People don't seem to understand we are in, right now, since those wicked nations in the garden, we have been in, and now we are in a fallen state. And everything that we deal with in this time period, during this prophetic process that's moving forward, is under that umbrella of a fallen state and a fallen nature. That's why the Most High says in his word that your righteousness is as filthy rags to him. And being in these bodies, these chains that we're in, you are trying to practice the righteous acts so that you can try to earn a situation to move forward when it comes to the potential for your salvation. But at the same time, what you're drawing yourself into is we're in a fallen state right now. So all of the things that you're witnessing and you're seeing are affected by that toxicity of a fallen state. And so you see our people, you look at our people, you see how they address themselves to the Most High and to the world, and you can see that the permeation of the wickedness that's on them is in a fallen state, and then their activities support the same situation. Now, recently I was listening to some lessons this morning, and of course what popped up recently is this situation with Polite. Pretty much people know that the so-called self-proclaimed prophet of reason, Polite, who's supposed to be so intelligent and so wonderful in knowing the truth and the knowledge of his vastness, but he's really a carnal demon for the most part. He don't know the scriptures, and what he does know, he twists them into his carnality of reality. So the bottom line is, now he's been claimed, it's alleged, said that he's taken a woman who he is called his wife, or whoever she is to him, and the 14-year-old daughter of what this woman that he claims as his wife, he supposedly at this point in time has raped this woman, this young 14-year-old girl. I don't know all the nuances and in-ounces. I don't get into all the details of the wickedness that Jake's be getting into, but this is something that is now starting to take center stage in the next onslaught of videos and different aspects that are going to be brought out in reference to the fallen state of our people and fallen state of the people that the Most High has created in general. This is, again, how fallen is the state of your spirit in understanding to know what's going on. And of course, Sakari, they're jumping out, and Alazar, he's running out here and jumping all over it and trying to be a righteous language or a righteous voice in terms of bringing out the law and claiming his Levitical prowess in terms of how he wants to address this situation about this incident and this situation with Polite, which of course then it takes the light off of some of the wickedness and the things that he's doing in his twisted realm of of reproach that he won't address, knowing he's supposed to be such a lawyer for the Most High in the Levitical house that he's supposedly derived from, and basically he's getting the light off himself by shining the light on Polite and what he has done with this 14-year-old child. So now you have a situation where the fallen state of mindset of the men who are supposed to be in the truth, going after those that are in the truth or not in the truth, and then of course brandishing their beat down in reference to what's supposed to be righteous through the law, and then dragging this person and everyone through the whole requisite of everything that's going on. Just commentarily understanding this, if we don't understand that this particular period of time, some people call it a dispensation, some people call it an eonic period of time, it's a variety of different ways you could express it, but during this prophetic timeline, this process that's going on that the Most High controls right now, since we are not under the new covenant and we're not in the righteousness of the total grace that could come through YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, that what we have is we're in a fallic, toxic world, and the nature and system upon which we're operating in is also a fallen, toxic environment. The only grace we have is the truth that's in the Bible that can be filtered through the appropriate teachers who can teach the accuracy of it in totality. And the only camp and organization I've found that could primarily do that is the Great Millstone. Everyone else is operating on an atheistic platform to an extent, whether they claim to bring out the name of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI or whether they do not, whether they decide that we're going to say what we want to say and we don't think that we're in error in doing it. Bottom line is, if you can't get the name right and you can't get the doctrine right and you can't understand the fallen state of our people and the world, then you're not right, and you shouldn't even be out here doing anything. I don't care if you've been out here for 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years. If you don't have the doctrine right, if you don't have the name right, if you don't subscribe to and deal with the fact that the Most High can filter the truth through a fallen state in this world and bring it through an organization that sticks to what he says, the way he says it, you're just completely freaking bugged out to the nth degree. And you're an atheistic, system-driven organization. And basically that's where you are with this situation, and you don't understand that. So, you get people getting into accusatory language and getting into accusational consternation in terms of confronting issues and bringing stuff out that they really don't have I don't think they have a right to do this. I said this over and over again. Debating the truth is blasphemy against YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, because you can't debate the Most High's word and his Torah and his truth. And you can't debate the Mashiach. You can't debate Yahawashi HaMashiach. You can't do that. Where do you stand to even think that you could talk about that? You shouldn't be wasting your time talking to anyone that doesn't get it. In other words, ask the questions. The questions are real simple. Who are the wicked and who are the righteous? When YAHAWAH Bah said that, it resonated with my spirit. I understood what he meant completely, and it just falls in line with what should be asked. Because if you ask anyone that and they can't answer that question, you don't need to waste any more time talking to them. Who are the wicked? Who are the righteous? Okay, I'll back up. I'll add one more additive to that. What are the promises and who are the promises given to? If you just address those things right there, then right off the bat, you shut down anyone you should need to talk to. So there'll be no measure or no need to actually have a debate with anyone, because it's not necessary, because they can't answer those questions in the light to show that who they are. And then, of course, they're Hebrew Israelites, if they are, and if they are supposed to be awake by YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, then at that point in time, those questions resonate in their spirit, and they're going to want to know more if they don't know the answers. Okay, so therefore, let's understand our fallen state of toxicity that we're in right now. Everything is tainted on this earth. That's why the Most High has to send the missiles, clear this up, clean this up, and it has to be sent, and it has to be cleansed by fire. It ain't gonna be cleansed by water this time. It's got to be cleansed by fire. So he's got to burn the rudiments and the elements out of here in reference to the stuff that's going on and the stuff that's going to perpetuate. And if you don't understand that, and you buying into trying to find a way of surviving and gaining some kind of access in a burning house that is set on fire, and you're looking for a refuge in it by setting up your own wickedness and house, why would you want it? Why do you want to have a place of wickedness in a wicked kingdom, so you want to be equally wicked. And this is what you got people doing, trying to set up, you know, all kinds of deals with Esau in this world. I mean, think about it. You want a reality show? If you're gonna get a reality show, what are you going to? What's your reality? The reality is that you sold out. The reality is that you actually took another bag, a bigger bag, in a bag like all the rest of these wicked false prophets of these other camps have done. That's what you've done. Because if you're not going to get on Esau's programming and going to drag him and trash him and think that you're going to get paid and going to be able to expound on this and let it go internationally and nationally around in a syndicated process and start dragging him and dogging him the way you supposedly do on the highways and byways, you really think that you're going to get away with that, or he's going to let you do that? You're not getting a reality show or anything else that's going to drag people in that nature and think that you're going to do it and make it righteous and try to put the Most High YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI's label on it. You are out of your freaking mind. It ain't going to happen. All right, so that you can consider to be complete blasphemy, and you know you're just falling deeper into the bugged out situation. You had gotten a warning several times about doing the things that you're doing, monetizing the truth, monetizing the Mashiach, monetizing the Most High. You've been warned. You got shot at several times and no one got hurt. That was a big warning. You're not listening. You're not paying attention to what's going on. Most High is going to go to the point now where he's going to say, all right, I warned you several times. And he does this with his people. And then next time he's going to flat right out destroy people and get rid of them. Because he's not going to tolerate people just doing whatever the hell they want to do and then trying to claim it and label it that the Most High is involved in it to the degree of righteousness, because it's not. And that's not what's going on. So, you know, look, Negrilites, whatever you want to call them, they've been warned. And if they don't want to stop, then the Most High is going. You know what he's going to do. He's not a respecter of anybody that's going to go wicked and do stuff and try to claim he's involved in it because you want to do you. All right, you're doing the doest thou will, and that's Satanistic and is wicked. And you need to stop, and you don't want to stop, so you're going to have to be stopped. And that's how the Most High is going to do it. He's going to do what he's got to do. His name is YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. He's not taking no crap and no shit from nobody. And he quite frankly, is really filtering out everything and everyone that he has to in order to get where he needs to go. You know, I know this commentary is about 17 minutes long. I'm going to try to stop it at about 20 because you need to hear this. And then I'm going to bust out some scriptures on you about a fallen state situation, because I've got a few. And I know there's many more that can be expounded on, but I'm going to bring you what the Most High told me to bring you in reference to the fact that how fallen is the state of your spirit and understanding. And that's going to go blanketing across everybody. And that includes those that are in the truth and doing what they're supposed to be doing or not. Because you're not dragging fallen state activity and shit from this dispensation period, from this time period, from this eonic period into the new covenant. You're not dragging that stuff into there. The Most High is going to have a new covenant, and he's going to cleanse this system. He's not going to cleanse this system so you can drag this system into the new covenant. He had a brand new system that got shit to do with this system, and he's not letting you drag that into the new. It's not going to happen. Your activities, your lust, the things you want, the things you think you want, you're not celestial minded. You're carnally, spiritually painted, and this is where you are. You're thinking about this world system in this way. You know, my brother Manak the Zakba always says you're African American minded, and that's some bullshit that you shouldn't be involved in. You sound like a black person. He ain't coming back for black people. He's not coming back for African Americans. He's not coming back for anyone that claims to be a byword in accepting that identification here in this system right now. It's not happening. So you can forget about that. So basically, I wanted to get this in terms of the commentary, and now I'm going to break into some scriptures. All right, I'm going to start out in Genesis chapter 6, around verse 5. And it says here, Genesis 6:5, it says, "And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of their thoughts and of his heart was only evil continually." And of course, I'll give you a few more. He said, 6, and it repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and that it grieved him at his heart. 7, and Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. You see what I'm saying? So right there, Yahweh knows that the toxicity of the fallen state that happened with Adam and Eve from the beginning had already become a problem in reference to, where we are right now in this state of mind and in this state of situation that we're here, and it's all twisted and wicked at this point. Okay, all right, I'm going to stick in Genesis for a little bit more because I got a few more things to read. Okay, all right, so let's go to and listen, I'm not trying to jump on and bash on the woman and on our women in general. What I'm saying is very simple. Eve came upon wickedness that was already in the garden. What was Adam doing when she came upon this wickedness in the garden? Where was she at? How did she get away when he was doing work? How come she wasn't beside him or working with him beside him when he was doing the work of the Most High YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, and to get into the presence of these wicked individuals in the garden who were of the Canaanites, who brought that wickedness to her mind to tell her that she needed to look at another way of operating with her husband and operating in the Most High's grace and the Most High's work. What was she doing? And then didn't she see that also the other nations in the garden were staying away from those Canaanites that were in the garden, that were spewing all this wicked doctrine? Didn't she see they stayed away from them? I mean, if some of the other nations stayed away from them degenerates, then why did she not stay away from them? So she should have known, and she was told twice to not do that. But here's the thing: it happened, but the wickedness was already present in the garden with these Canaanites, and then she come upon it, and then now, so she brought the wickedness into the world of our Adamic line. She brought the wickedness by getting beguiled by them, by those in this midst of the garden. She brought that into the presence of her husband, and she brought that into the presence of our people that would eventually be inherited down the line. And then, okay, that's the fallen state that we're in. And then once that hit, poof, it just permeated and spread throughout the entire existence of all that the Most High created. Now, of course, the other wicked nations was happy because now they could do whatever they want to do. The do with thou will statement and premise just permeated and became their way of life, their way of death, which I say. Okay, so now, so she was doing something which she shouldn't have been doing, and she ran into the wickedness, and the wickedness was there, and the evil and the wickedness beguiled her, and then she brought it back, and because the state of her husband loving her and caring about her, he fell with her. So now, since the Most High gave power to all of his children who are selected and chosen, or the seed line of his children, this became the wickedness in the fallen state of inheritance that is now roaming through this dispensation period of earth, this ionic period of time. This is what's going on. This continual progression of a fallen state and wickedness is still continually permeating through the world. Because why? She went and got beguiled instead of getting to task and staying with your man, and just not listening to those wickedness, that wicked evilness in the midst of the garden. Get away from that. Stay away from that. But okay, it happened, and now because that happened, now a lot of the Akim, they go and blame the woman completely, that she brought evil into the world. She brought it into the world of the Adamic line that eventually rolled down to the Hebraic line, and then rolled down to the Israelite line, and then here we are at this state in time now. Yeah, she brought that part in. She got the plague on her, and then she contaminated her husband and everyone else from going and getting contaminated by the wickedness that was in the midst of the garden. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now let's read a little bit about some of what I'm talking about so that we can clarify and get ourselves straight here. Okay, this is Genesis chapter 2, and I could go down to 16. All right, yeah. Genesis chapter 2, verse 16. And Yahweh power commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. Right? But the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat it, for it is in the day that thou, therefore, in the day, Shalaki, for in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. And Yahweh said, it is not good for the man to be alone, I will make him a helpmate. So as soon as he told him, if you go eat it of this tree, if you go get this doctrine from these damn heathens that are wicked, you're going to fall. You're going to be in a fallen state and you're going to fall. Okay? All right. And so, okay. So then he did it. All right. The Most High he gave the command. He ordained the situation, and then therefore this is what happened. Okay. And he says, okay, 18. And Yahweh said, it is not good for the man that should be alone. I will make him a helpmate for him. And out of the ground Yahweh formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them into Adam, and he said unto them, he would call them, and whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name. So there he got a job. He gave him a job in verse 19, and that was the job he was supposed to fulfill. 20. And Adam gave names to the cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field, and out of Adam, and out Shalaki. But for Adam there was not found a helpmate for him. And Yahweh power caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took out of his ribs and closed up the flesh and stared thereof. In other words, he took the DNA from Adam, and of course with using the substance of the electrochemiluminescence, he made the woman and put that DNA in her, and there she is. In Adam 23, and Adam said, it is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken of man, out of man. So there you go. So that's an instant love that has been built. That's why you become one when you get with the woman, and preferably if you can get to your soulmate, you'll be in real better shape, which is very rare in any instance. 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, and the man and his wife, and were not ashamed, which means at that time not ashamed, which means they hadn't fallen yet. But that status in that situation was about to occur. Okay, so now we're going to go to 3 Genesis. Okay, we'll go to Genesis chapter 3, and we're going to, let's see what I want to pull up here. All right, yeah. All right, Genesis chapter 3, starting 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast in the field which Yahweh power had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, hath power said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. So now, these Canaanites are trying to be slick. They're using subtle language. They're using the type of language where they can befuddle you and beguile you, which they were doing. And the woman said unto the serpent, see, now you shouldn't be talking to these people now. Now you're talking to them, you're having a conversation with them, you already fallen into the trap. He said, we may eat of the fruit of the trees. In other words, I could talk to the rest of these nations out here, right? You can do that. You said, Shalaki. But the fruit trees in the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, which is you niggas that we talking about, Yahweh said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Okay, there you go. So she knew. She already told him. So, okay, once you said that, walk away, leave. Don't even have any more conversation. You shouldn't have had that, but you should have just left. Okay. And then these serpent people said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. In other words, we telling you ain't going to die. And she didn't die instantly, but the death of the death of the righteousness of being in the righteous nature that the Most High created in the beginning, that is going to die. See, that's where the lie comes in. Okay, he says, for Yahweh power doeth know that in the day that ye eat of, there your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So basically, what they're saying is, once you do this, you're going to open up the opportunity for all of us to try to I guess I would call it to act like you're going to be gods. You know what, you're going to perpetrate. People used to use the word perpetrate. Why are you perpetrating? Now they're going to try to perpetrate as though they're going to be some kind of gods, small letter G, right? So that's why the evil and the wickedness would do that, right? So he said, surely die, right? 5. For Yahweh power doeth know that in the day that there ye eat of, that your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, in other words, food, manna, to the mind, to the brain, telling her you can have the same amount of power, telling you can have the same amount of control that Adam was given, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired, to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So he loved her, and he loved her so much that he was blinded to the fact that he was told by YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, and you see the same kind of situation happening even today. So you know how true and factual this is, because you got men who will follow a woman and decide to go against the Most High YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, and just because of their blind love for her, and then they will be falling deeper into sin and falling deeper into wickedness that's against the Most High and in abominations. Okay, all right. So then, and then did he 7, and the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. So once they knew they were naked, they knew they had fallen at that point, because they could understand that the grace that was on them, that they felt prior to this happening, it departed from them. The spirit, the Rawacca Qadash, the Holy Spirit that was put on them, that permeated everything about them, was no longer there. It was gone, and they could clearly see it. And you can see that people see it now. You look around at some of the people in the world. Look at these Jakes and Jakettes. Check them out. They don't have the spirit on them. They got all kinds of long eyelashes looking like the snuffleupagus on Sesame Street, that elephant that walking around. The women, they got different color hair and that long nasty stringy hair that the snuffleupagus elephant had, and most of them are out of shape and huge, just like them snuffleupagus women. This is what we talk about. All right, I digress a little bit. Let me go back. But you can see the spirit of righteousness is not on them. And they're all walking around with their mask on their face and the gloves on their hands, and they're not part of the Most High's plan. You can see that right now. They're looking for salvation through Esau. They don't listen to no one else. They got on tight clothes. The men are wearing their pants hanging off their ass. This is all fallen state activity, wanting to do all kinds of different activities in the world and become even worse and worse worldly. Most High says, if you're a friend of the world, you're an enemy of his. You see, it's just simple as that. Okay. All right, so then here we go to verse 8 in Genesis chapter 3, verse 8, where now they run into the prophets that are in the garden also, talking to them about the wickedness that they done got themselves into, and they done brought the whole line, the whole inherited, soon generational line that's going to be down the road, that's going to go through all this wickedness and all this turmoil and trouble, because you couldn't keep your ass away from them damn wicked ass Canaanites in the garden, taking up their wicked doctrine and bringing it back and then embracing it. So here it goes, 8. And they heard the voice of Yahweh, the Lord, power, walking in the garden. Now you know a voice don't walk, so it had to be the prophets, who are the voice of the Most High, in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh power amongst the trees in the garden. So they didn't hide amongst no daggone oak trees. They was trying to hide around the rest of the nations that knew that these Canaanites were wicked as hell and were bringing a false evil doctrine that had been there from that time from the beginning. Why? People go, well, why was there evil in the garden at that particular time when everything was righteous all around? And then, so what was the nature of that? Why do we have to have that? Well, okay, if you're not studied up and learned enough to understand that in order for us to have the grace of salvation for the rest of our lives, you have to know what not to do in order to inherit that, which means there has to be the balance of the good and the bad. That's why the Most High says in his word that he does evil and he also does righteousness. He heals and he hurts. Just roughly paraphrase Shlaki. So I'm just saying, you will never understand the grace and magnitude of the celestial process that is beyond our understanding in the grace that he gave us in terms of his son, Yahawashi, who was given to us as a gift, if you don't know the other side of it. So don't be talking to me and saying stuff about, well, why was there evil in the garden? Well, you know why. Now you have somewhat of an understanding. Okay, let's move on. Okay. So they tried to hide in the garden from the prophets when the prophets were telling them, you done screwed up, and now we got to deal with this situation for generations to come because of you, all right? And Yahweh power called unto Adam and said unto him, where art thou? In other words, he knew where he was. What he's saying is, why are you trying to hide? Why are you trying to hide? Stop trying to hide, okay? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden of the prophets, right? And I was afraid because I was naked. In other words, I sinned. I know I sinned. I messed up and I did bad. And I hid myself. And he said, who told thou that thou wast naked? And hast thou eaten of the tree whereas I commanded thee that thou shalt not eat? And so, of course, he said, and the man said, and the woman that thou gavest to me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. So now it's time to blame and pass the buck. Now, listen. Why didn't you just say, instead of saying the woman gave to me, she brought me the wickedness? Why didn't you say, look, I was doing your work and I lost track of where my wife Eve was, and she got around in the presence of these Canaanites, Most High Father, and when she did, she started hearing what they were saying, and she started listening, and then now when she listened and brought it back to me, then I started listening, and now this is our situation. Why didn't you say that? But no, what did Adam say? Okay. He said, oh man, this is the part that, see, that's what I'm saying. And the man said, and Adam said, the woman whom thou gavest to me to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. Let's break it down. Adam, the man, said, the woman that thou presented, he gave it to her, but he presented it to her. He could have said, no, she ain't bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, I don't want her. No, but what did he say? He said, thou gavest to me, she, and she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. She gave me the information and knowledge that she heard about, and she said, and then she went on ahead, and then she ate. He ate along with it. In other words, he took the knowledge in, and he thought it was something that would be beneficial for them to both have the same magnitude and level of power to do the Most High's work together. This is where his mindset was going, and so he went on and accepted the situation, and then of course that puts him in just as much in a fallen state as her. Okay, he didn't reject what she said. He could have. He didn't do that. He didn't explain to the Most High what he was doing where she got away and got out of his presence. You notice, if our women get out of our presence and they get into the world and they start doing stuff, and a lot of times they emotional, they'll get twisted. And they'll get beguiled by the world, and they'll start doing stuff like making their hair blonde, doing all kinds of crazy things to their bodies, putting on fake eyelashes and all kinds of crazy stuff. If you let them get out of your presence without you being there to support and be some form of structure in the way that the Most High created for you and her, she gonna go off, and when she go off, this is what you're going to have. And then what? Now that she go off, you're going to blame her. Okay, all right. So now, before you was in the truth, what was you doing to the women? What were you doing to women before you was in the truth? Were you being righteous to them? Or were you doing stuff to them that would be considered unrighteous, that would be a fallen state, that would be wicked, and that you would say, oh, and she brought this to me and I did it. Come on. Stop the blame game. Okay. Are there some nigger women? Yeah. Are there some righteous women? Oh yeah, there's a lot of both. So show the contrast and explain the difference. Don't just blame it all on women. We don't only have just all wicked women in the world. There are women in the world who are not wicked. Show the difference, okay? Everybody, even though we're all in this fallen state of the situation, everybody is not completely wicked to the point where, that's all we have. Okay, we know we got a combination, all right? And so we have to deal with that. All right, Yahweh said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, Shlaki, fly messing with me, said, the serpent beguiled me and I did eat. In other words, I listened to the Canaanites when I wasn't supposed to, and I did eat, and now I'm in trouble. And Yahweh said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all the cattle and above every beast of the field, and upon their belly thou shalt go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between the woman and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. And unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and conception, and thy conception and sorrow, and thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire to and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. And see, now let me not go past that. Now, if your desire, her desire is to be ruled over by you, you have to be of a nature in this fallen state where you're in the truth, and the truth is in you, and it is filtered appropriately, and it is filtered righteously, so that you can rule over her in a righteous way. If you're not that way, you can't rule over her in a righteous way, and she's going to rebel, and this is what we have. Okay? You know, so don't say you're going to rule over someone if you're not in a position to be able to rule over. Okay? And so he said, okay, all right, now here we go with our fallen state. All right, even deeper. All right, 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, in sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life, and thorns and thistles, 18, shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat of the herbs of the field. In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat the bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it thou wast taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. All right. And there you go. And Yahweh said, and Adam called his wife named Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Unto Adam also and his wife did the Lord God make coats of skin and clothe them. And the Lord God said, behold, man is become as one of us in terms of the good, knowing the good and the evil. And now lest he put his hand and take also the tree of life, and eat and live forever. Therefore Yahweh power sent forth from the Shlaki. Therefore the Lord Yahweh power sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So now, so he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the garden, at the Garden Eden, cherubims with a flaming sword, which turneth every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So there you go. Now you see the fallen state that has been deemed and put upon us as the chosen people, and the lineage and the generations that will come. And this permeation of fallen has just, like I said, it went poof, and it went throughout everything that was going on in the world. And now this is what we have in terms of the fallen nature of the situation at hand. And so now that's part of it. So now I'm gonna pull a couple more precepts. I want to go to see, I did Genesis, so I had to start from the beginning because I like to bring that up right up. So now I'm gonna pop over to let's go to Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12. So let's get that 14, and we're gonna go to 12. And it says, all right, this is one that a lot of people bring up to talk about the fallen state of Esau and his people, and basically to that point. So everyone knows this one. This is a classic that everyone talks about. And it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down from the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of power of God, of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mountain of the congregation in the sides of the north. Just those two verses right there let you know that we're not dealing with the spiritual entity or demon Satan. We're talking about the nation of Esau and Edom, and all of those individuals who claim to try to be like the Most High power. And they are also loving this fallen state. This is their heaven. Their fallen state is heaven, even though it's our hell. And this is what they're doing. And that's why he said he wants to he also said he will exalt his throne above power. In other words, to try to get up above all of us. And we are the true chosen people of the Most High, and he will sit upon the mount of the congregation. We are the congregation, and we are the mount that he is sitting upon, and he has got us in this fallen state where we are, and he is abusing that process and to the best of his ability, which he was given. Job chapter 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So He covered the faces. He changed what the Most High and the Son looked like. He changed everything, and he's been able to go around the world and provide and permeate this process. And that's a fallen state. But why are we not understanding the fallen state of what is actually going on? Everything that's going on has been tainted. Even our Bible has been touched by these wicked devils, and they have tainted portions of it, but it's filtered through the truth when you deal with the right apostles and the right teachers that know the truth and can give you the word and bring it forth the way it's supposed to come. Once you get that and you get that truth, you come somewhat out of the fallen state, and you start operating in the spirit and in the truth. But it's very rare that you can have this, because you see it permeating even with these other camps. Hey, these other camps are tripping out wickedly to the nth degree. Where do I want to go from here? Let's go pop back here. I'm gonna check a couple more precepts I wanted to pull out. I had a couple on my mind, and I just want to see if some of what I'm looking for. Okay. Okay. Here's part of something I want to say. I want to go back to Revelation for a minute and go into verse 4. Revelation 12:4. Revelation 12:4. And his tail drew. His tail drew the third part of stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered to devour her child as soon as she was born. So, okay, what I wanted to say here is the tail that drew and his tail drew a third part of stars from heaven, and did cast them to earth. This is the fallen state of the fact that when you had the chosen people of the Most High during that Adamic period, in that time when we were going through the growth period of the prophecies, and we were cast down as messengers. We are those stars, the Hebrew Israelite men of today, and those that were the ancestors before then. They were cast down to the earth, like in the book of Jude. If you go to Jude, it specifically tells you that they were cast down. And when they were cast down, those were the Hebrew Israelites that were cast down at that time. All right, Jude 1. Let's see. All right, where am I at? 6. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation. Jude chapter 1 verse 6. Jude 1:6. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. Okay, so you can see right here that what ended up happening is these were our ancestors who were cast down from the fallen state, and they were here, and they're in the chains and everlasting darkness is these bodies we're in. And now that's why we're going through this process of this fallen state and this system that we're operating in, which is very toxic for the most part. Okay, where is it going next? Let me see. I think I want to go over to, what was it, 1 Peter 1:24. Let's see if that's what I want. Let's see if that's the one I want. 1 Peter 1, is that 24? Let's see. Hold on. No, that's not the precept I want. Okay, let me see. Let's see here. I think I want to go to Amos here for a minute. Amos 5 is what I want. I think it's Amos 5, chapter 5. What was it? Is it 5:2? Yeah, I'm gonna hit that one. Amos chapter 5, verse 2. The virgin of Israel is fallen. She shall no more rise. She is forsaken upon her land. There is none to raise her up. So this is showing us here, breaking this one down is the fact that we can see the nature of our women is becoming worse and worse. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. And the nature, it says here, and the virgin of Israel is fallen. And it's talking about the entire nation of Israel, because we are that nation to the Most High. And the nature of where we are as a prophetic process of the Most High, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, moves forward, it's getting worse. Everything's getting worse. Everything's getting to that pinnacle of that Jacob's trouble period that everyone keeps trying to act like it's not going to happen, but it is happening. And Jake's just can't seem to measure up or understand what's going on, because, as I said before, how fallen is the state of your spirit and understanding. They don't understand it. They think that, they're going to win through and get through this, and they're going to be fine, or we're going to be good, and everything going to go back. No, it's not. This wicked kingdom's over, man. It's not coming back. And as it says here, and she is forsaken upon her land, and there is none to raise her up. Because unless they come through YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, they're not going to be raised up. It's very, very simple, and that's just the status of where things are. Okay, where do I want to go next? The next precepts I want is, I did want to go to Romans. Let me go to Romans, because I got quite a few precepts on falling in Romans that I wanted to pull out. So let me see. I want to go to Romans 3:9. No, I want, because that was 20, right? Okay, I could do that one. I really want to pull, there's so many from Romans I could pull. I could go to Romans 2:16. On 1:4. 1:14. I'm just trying to go in my mind to get certain scriptures that I know that I could pull from. No, I don't want that one either. What I want to do with I know I might go to. Let's see. This fly's getting on my daggone nerve. he just tormenting me, the damn devil. Get away from me. 15. Okay, yeah, I'm going to pull Deuteronomy chapter 30. So stay with me. I'm getting ready to end this soon. I know I'm in my truck. I had to go out and do a few things, and just came upon me to get into this. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 15. See, I have set before thee this day life, good, and death and evil. And in that I command thee this day to love Yahweh thy power, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, and that thou mayest live and multiply. And Yahweh thy power shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it. So basically, the Most High is basically telling you, if he set before you the truth, even in this fallen state, to operate in good and evil. And if you do that and you operate correctly, then you will live and you will be able to acquire salvation. But if you don't, then of course you will pay, and you will pay with your life. Okay. So that was the precept I wanted to pull from there. I'm getting ready to cut this because I know it's getting kind of long here, and I know that Jakes don't want to be hanging out too long and learning anything because that's just not how they made. This is Matthew chapter 15, verse I'm gonna go with 19. For out of the heart proceedeth evil thoughts, murderers, adulterers, fornications, thefts, false witnesses, and blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defileth not a man. This is what YAHAWAH was saying. That's red letter. So basically what he's trying to tell you is that do ye not yet understand, this was 17, understand that whatsoever entereth in at the mouth goeth into the belly and is cast out into the draught. But those things which proceedeth out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. So you can see this is how the fallen state we're in, and this is the nature of the fallen state we're in, and it's not getting any better because it has to come to fruition as far as the Most High is concerned, and this is the nature and the status upon which we are at this point, and a lot of our people just can't seem to get it, and they don't recognize the fact that the level of the fallen state we're under, and the Most High's got them blinded. Okay. So this is part of what I had went to before. Is I think I went to Judges chapter 20. Let me see here. Judges 20, and I was talking about this is the time when the tribes of Israel went up against the tribes of Benjamin, and heard that the children of Israel were going up to Mizpah. Then said the children of Israel, "Tell us how was this wickedness?" And the Levite and the husband of the woman that was slain answered and said, "I came to Gibeah, that belongeth to Benjamin, and I and my concubine to lodge. And the men of Gibeah rose up against me and beset the house around about me by night, and thought to have slain me, and my concubine have they forced, that she is dead. And I took my concubine and cut her up in pieces and sent her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Israel, for they have committed lewdness and folly in Israel. Behold, ye are all children of Israel. Give her your advice and counsel." And all the people arose as one man, saying, "We will not any of us go to his tent, neither will we at any of us turn into his house. But now this shall be the thing which we will do to Gibeah. We will go up by a lot against it." So again, this goes back to the fact that if we try to go out and decide we're going to do something, one of the analogies I brought out before was, okay, if it's me and my sibling, and we have other siblings that are younger than us, okay, and then we have our father at home, and then we know of some wickedness that's really horrible to death that the other siblings in the family have done. And so we decide we're going to go and correct them. And so we go and tell our father what we're going to do. But at the same time, we're not engaging our father to go with us to do this. This is what what Israel had did at the time. These Israelites decided to go up against their brother Benjamin. But instead of just making sure that the father goes with them to make sure this is done equally and in balance, they went up 2 times on their own, and they end up losing. A lot of people and a lot of men got destroyed. And then finally they went back with everyone from the congregation, and then all people showed up into the Most High and in his presence and said, "Okay, Father, what do we do?" And then the Most High said, "Okay, I'm going to go up with you, and I'm going to orchestrate how this goes. Follow my lead." So he goes up with them this time on the 3rd time after they witnessed 2 levels of destruction, 1st and 2nd time. Now this time they go up, and then the Most High says, "Okay, do what you got to do." And then once they went ahead and tried to do it again, they did lose some more people, but they drew out the wickedness from the kingdom. And when the Benjamites came out from their place where they had their home, they thought they had the Israelites on the run. And then, of course, they end up getting corrected and slayed, and the Most High was right there to make sure that happened. So basically, you have to go with the Most High and what he says do, and you can't just go out here and try to deal with stuff in this fallen, wicked system, in this wicked state, and think you're going to correct people. That's not the nature of how this operates. You cannot go out here and try to correct wickedness in the fallen state if you don't understand how fallen is the state of your spirit and in understanding. If you're still doing wicked stuff and you want to go correct other people doing wicked stuff, then it says in the scripture that our righteousness is as filthy rags to the Most High. So how much fallen are you than who you're dealing with? And if you are fallen, you got to make sure that you're operating strictly under the guidelines and the doctrine of the YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. If you get outside of that, then you're just as wicked as the ones you're going to destroy. This is pretty much the case. So anyway, I wanted to bring that out because it was on my spirit to bring it out. How fallen is the state of your spirit in understanding. I want to say all praise to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, Rawacca Qadash, and the fact that this is your brother Obadiah, YAHAWAH Canaan, just bringing this out to you while I was out and about in the truck, had to run some errands. And I definitely want to give salutations and my utmost admiration and respect to the elders and the apostles who have been bringing this truth out for decades, and as I have been following what they've been teaching, and know that they are completely accurate in terms of their presentation and how they bring it out. They are bringing out the total accuracy of the truth. And all the rest of these other camps and ones that are out here doing things, they're being atheistically bugged out. And if that's what they need to be doing, then hey, all praises to the Most High to do the correction in the way that He sees fit. So on that note, I want to say Shalom.